Hi everybody, this is Noelle at Petitti's, and it is a kind of cool March day out there. And we wanted to talk a little bit about starting your plants off right. So right now we're talking about established plants, plants that have been growing in your landscape or your garden. And when's the time to feed them? A lot of people ask us that question. So actually you can start feeding evergreens right now in March, not a problem whatsoever. And we often recommend Espoma tone products for organic, slow release, very, very thorough feeding. Evergreens you can start feeding, and we use Holly-tone. Let me pick up Holly-tone. Holly-tone is for evergreen plant material or acid-loving plant material, okay? And so this is, like I said, a slow-release organic fertilizer that you can apply now to your established evergreen plants or acid-loving plants. And this will last all the way through mid-summer. So one application now, typically what we're looking for here is you're going to apply it around the drip line of your plant material, and you apply 1 cup per branch diameter. So let's say your weigela is 2 foot in diameter, you're going to apply 2 cups around the drip line, so just at the edge of the branches on that plant, okay? Weigela is not a good example. I should have said juniper. Let's talk evergreen juniper. However, if you put Holly-tone on a weigela, it would be fine, okay? So the Holly-tones are for the evergreens there, and you can start feeding your evergreens now. So azaleas, rhododendrons, holly, junipers, Texas, lots of stuff, okay? So there's plenty that you can feed out there. The counterpart to Holly-tone is going to be plant tone. Plant tone is a multi-purpose, again, organic, slow release, natural fertilizer that you can use, and we use this on just about everything else except the acid-loving plant material and evergreen plant material. So you can apply plant tone to your deciduous shrubs now. So those are your shrubs that lose all their leaves. You can apply it to perennial plant material now too, after you get out in the garden, clean everything up. If you're pruning now, it's a great time to prune in March. If you're pruning, you can go ahead and after you're done pruning, done cleaning up around the plant material, cleaning out your landscape beds, that's when you wanna apply your plant tone, okay? So again, same thing as the Holly-tone, you would apply 1 cup, okay, 1 measuring cup full per foot of diameter branch material. With perennials, it might be a little bit less because they're a little bit smaller plant material compared to your woody trees and shrubs, but that's normally how we work. So same thing, if you have a weigela that is 2 foot wide, you're gonna apply 2 cups around the drip line of that weigela. Perfect, plant tone is perfect for that. The other plant material that you might see popping up in your garden is gonna be your bulbs. And bulbs, typically, they really appreciate fertilization when you plant them. So that's normally in the fall time. You put your bulb tone or your biotone that I'm going to talk about in just a second in the hole with the bulb, okay? And then you're going to go ahead, cover it over, water it, and then they're sitting there all winter long, but those leaves are emerging now. And the crocus have already really come out in bloom. We're just starting to see the daffodils pop up, the foliage become very, very active, the stems and also the buds. So you want to apply bulb tone in the spring, late winter, early spring, around those plants, those spring blooming bulbs. Also, if you are starting dahlias or gladiolas, any of those summer blooming bulbs, you can also pot them up now, apply your bulb tone into those pots, and they'll have that nutrients as they actively start growing. So that's something that you can use the bulb tone on as well. With the bulbs here, it's usually about a heaping teaspoonful per bulb. So if you plant them in clusters, which we often recommend, and you have, let's say, 3, 5, 7 or more bulbs in that hole, you might be using maybe a tablespoonful or a quarter cupful as you start having larger bulb plantings. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Bulb tone is excellent. The last fertilizer that I wanted to talk about for spring is going to be Bio-tone. And so the Bio-tone is a little bit different from the other tone products in the respect that this is a plant starter, root stimulator type of fertilizer, okay? It is organic. It does a very good job of helping new plant material establish their roots, but also will help expand their root system so they're able to absorb more nutrients, more moisture, everything that they need out of the soil. So when we start to be able to dig and the soil is less muddy, less squishy, when you go out into the garden and you start to dig and the water is draining through, that's when we can really start planting. And this is the fertilizer that you want to apply to the planting hole, place the plant in that hole, backfill, okay? Let that plant get established, and then you can put your plant tone or your holly tone or even your bulb tone around the drip line of that plant for a later feeding. So just so you know, Bio-tone's an awesome starter. We really recommend it, highly recommend it, and it does really, really well for a spring kind of root starter, getting those plants established really well. So again, remember your organic slow release fertilizers can be applied now. Plant tone for any of your deciduous or plants that lose their leaves, holly tone for any of the evergreen or acid lover type plants, and then bulb tone again for your spring blooming bulbs. Enjoy.